Ingrid Lewis Martin. New York City Mayor Eric Adams' former chief advisor has been indicted again for alleged bribes. Tyrone Bowman live. According to ABC News, let's talk about it. Ingrid Lewis Martin accepted more than $75,000 in bribes while serving as chief advisor to New York Mayor Eric Adams. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg alleged Thursday in 4 separate conspiracy indictments that also named 8 others, including some of the mayor's associates. Lewis Martin, who was previously charged with accepting more than $100,000 in bribes, is now alleged to have conspired to steer city contracts for shelters to house asylum seekers to preferred property owners in exchange for a $50,000 cash payment allegedly accepted by her son Glenn Martin II, who is also charged. In a different indictment, Lewis Martin is alleged to have taken $2,500 from 2 Brooklyn business owners, Gina and Tony Argento, in exchange for convincing city transportation officials to abandon a plan to redesign McGinnis's Boulevard. Lewis Martin and the city's deputy commissioner for real estate services, Jesse Hamilton, are alleged in the 3rd indictment to have conspired to fast-track development projects in exchange for renovations on their homes. In the 4th indictment, Lewis Martin allegedly conspired to obtain approval for a residential renovation project in exchange for thousands of dollars catering for events at Gracie Mansion and City Hall. Quote, "We allege that Ingrid Lewis Martin engaged in classic bribery conspiracies that had a deep and wide-ranging impact on city government," end quote. Bragg said in a statement announcing the indictments. As alleged, Lewis Martin consistently overrode the expertise of public servants so she could line her own pockets. Lewis Martin previously pleaded not guilty, is now charged with conspiracy and bribery charges. Quote, "New York City officials and employees have a duty to serve the public fairly and equitably, and the vast majority fulfill that sacred responsibility each and every day." Today's indictments, however, allege that the mayor's former chief advisor, at times in concert with the deputy commissioner for real estate services in the Department of Citywide Administrative Services, repeatedly and persistently abused her senior government position to enrich herself and her family, end quote. Department of Investigation Commissioner Jocelyn Stuber said in a statement, Lewis Martin and her son both pleaded not guilty to the latest charges on Thursday. During the arraignment, the prosecutor told the judge that, quote, "If you are willing to pay, Ms. Martin was open for business," end quote, and as alleged in the criminal complaints, she accepted both cash and seafood. Her lawyer, Arthur Aide, called the new charges, quote, "politically motivated," end quote, and a distortion of the truth, quote, close quote. He maintained in a statement on Wednesday, ahead of the release of the indictments, that Lewis Martin has broken no laws and she is not guilty. Despite a different line of service as despite a lifetime of service as a law-abiding public servant, Ingrid is being forced to enter court with little information. He said in the statement, "What she does know is this: she has always served the city with integrity, and she will firmly plead not guilty to every charge." Adams, who is now running for re-election as an independent instead of a Democrat, has not been accused of any wrongdoing. A spokesperson for his campaign said, quote, "While Ingrid Lewis Martin no longer works for this administration, she has been a friend and colleague of the mayor for over 40 years, and he knows her as a devoted public servant. She has declared her innocence, and his prayers are with her and the family," the spokesperson Todd Shapiro said in a statement. Mayor Adams also recognizes that Jesse Hamilton has pleaded not guilty, and like anyone accused, he is entitled to the presumption of innocence. His commitment to New Yorkers is unwavering. No distraction will ever take his eyes off the ball or his dedication to this great city we all call home, close quote. Lewis Martin resigned from her position days before surrendering on bribery and money laundering charges in December 2024. So here's a photo of Ingrid Lewis Martin with Mayor Eric Adams. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office probe is separate from federal corruption charges that were brought and then subsequently dropped against Adams. The mayor was indicted last year in the Southern District of New York on 5 counts in an alleged long-standing conspiracy connected to improper benefits, illegal campaign contributions, and an attempted cover-up. The Department of Justice moved to dismiss the charges, prompting the resignation of several top prosecutors. In April, a federal judge dismissed the case with prejudice, meaning it could not be reviewed or revived. The Justice Department sought to have the case dismissed to free up Adams to cooperate with the mayor's immigration agenda, though it wanted the case dismissed without prejudice, meaning it could be brought again. So the case was dismissed with prejudice, meaning you cannot charge Adams again. And they wanted the case dismissed without prejudice, meaning it could be brought again. It seems like somebody's not trusting the mayor there. So I want to talk about Ingrid for a moment. Let me see. This is just a big mess. In a related article here, this article was reported by ABC News as well. The headline reads, Ingrid Lewis Martin, New York City Mayor Eric Adams' former chief advisor, to face more charges, according to her lawyer. Ingrid Lewis Martin, New York City Mayor Eric Adams' former chief advisor, who remains a volunteer on his re-election campaign, will appear in court Thursday to face additional charges, her lawyer said. The lawyer author, Aide, said the Manhattan District Attorney's Office declined to provide details about the new charges. Quote, despite a lifetime of service as a law-abiding public servant, Ingrid is being forced to enter court with little information. What she does know is this: she has always served the city with integrity, and she will firmly plead not guilty to every charge, end quote. Aide said in a statement, while the specifics remains unclear, Ingrid is certain of one thing: she has broken the laws, and she is not guilty. According to this article, let's get it straight. I lost my feed for a moment. All right, said her lawyer said she is not guilty. Now, the sad thing about it is, I think she was charged So she surrendered Thursday morning at the Manhattan District Attorney's Office on bribery and money laundering charges. Lewis Martin reported to the courthouse in Lower Manhattan early Thursday with her son, Glenn Martin II, who faces the same charges. 2 real estate investors, Razada Vaad and Mayak Davaldi, also face bribery charges in the case. The group is accused of engaging in a $100,000 bribery scheme while Lewis Martin was in office, according to Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg. Lewis Martin resigned from her position on Sunday. Vaad and Davaldi are accused of paying Glenn Martin II $100,000 months after Lewis allegedly performed favors for the 2 men, including helping them with issues relating to construction permits and a family member's visa. According to the indictment, Glenn Martin II allegedly used the money to buy a Porsche, prosecutors said. Why do these people always just go out and buy stuff? When city officials monetize their office for personal gain, They undermine fundamental principles of integrity in government, diminish trust in public officials, and unfairly tarnish the reputations of the countless city employees who use their office solely to serve the public good, quote, close quote. New York City Department of Investigation Commissioner Jocelyn E. Stuber said in a press release after charges against Louis Martin were announced. The case is separate from federal charges against Adams. Sources told NBC News Adams, who has denied any wrongdoing, is facing corruption charges of allegedly accepting years of luxury travel gifts in exchange for, among other things, persuading the fire department to approve the opening of the new Turkish consulate in Manhattan. Now, subsequently, the DOJ caused these charges against Adams to be dropped. Louis Martin says, I'm being falsely accused of something. I don't know exactly what it is, but I know that I was told that it is something that is illegal, and I've never done anything that is illegal in my capacity in government. Here's a photo of Martin and her Louis. She abruptly resigned this past Sunday. Author Adelia and Louis right here. That's her attorney, if you want to see her lawyer. So New York politics is getting real ugly out in New York City, and this will be a great test for Adams to see if he could be reelected. Of course, you know he left the Democratic Party, and he's now an independent candidate. So Louis Martin has long been one of Adams' top aides, confidants, as he climbed the political ladder. She served as a senior advisor to Adams for 5 years when he was a state senator, and then as his chief of staff for another 7 years. She also served as deputy Brooklyn borough president while Adams was the borough president. He announced Louis Martin would become his chief advisor in January 2022. I will keep you updated on this story as to what's happening in New York City and around the world. Never surrender, never quit.